Greetings, welcome to the Captive Desk. And joining me, we have Mike and Scott from Answers in Atheism, because I came across a video called 7 Miracles Atheists Must Believe. And of course, I go to the best source on the YouTube to get answers in atheism, and that's Mike and Scott. So welcome, guys. Hopefully Scott.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And
There's
so, go ahead.
Somebody, I just did my usual troll on Jim Bob's live stream. And somebody called me Answers in Asshat. I kind of like it. I think I'm going to adopt it. So, anyway.
I saw you were real popular in the chat over there yesterday too.
Oh yeah, every time I go in there, they just climb on. Oh my God, answers in atheism. There are no answers in atheism. So, yeah. Just tune in. Anyway, go ahead. So
gives them something to do. Yeah, we got a bunch of folks out there. Of course, Crystal's always there showing support. Love you, Crystal. And we got Andy here, and we got Al, and we got Michael, and welcome everybody. So we're going to take a look at this video. It's not very long, and his points are really a concise little list that we can go through. And but I thought that we should kind of listen to a little bit of it, because gives a little impression of his attitude and personality as, I guess, a retired pastor. So, yeah, Scott's having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues, so he might be in and out, but it's all good. We're gonna have to go fund me and get a hold of Elon, have him put a tower up over there for Scott there.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. We'll listen to this just because it sets it up, and then we'll discuss what his points are on the miracles that we must believe in. All right.
Oh, and Andy McCracken wants
I'm retired.
What's that?
He wants the first miracle. We don't get the first miracle until when? Like 5 minutes from now. It's going to take a while for the first miracle. So
he's going to talk a little bit here, and. But I think it's important. I'll say the whole video, I think, is like 9 minutes long or something. So, but it does set up, and when you see him, I mean, kind of reminds you of Scott, friendly grandpa type, right?
Yeah.
And but he seems to have a bit of an attitude. So let's take a listen to him here.
Pastor, teacher, theologian Papa Dale. Today's Bible lesson is 7 miracles that atheists must believe.
Okay, first of all, any of these videos, I've got to say it, they're setting up a straw man right from the start, because they're always going to say you have to answer where the universe came from or where life came from, and most people are not scientists, and most atheists are not scientists. Okay, it's just we don't believe in your claim that a God exists, okay?
Now, I've been serving Christ and studying the Bible for over 50 years. See more about me in a video in this playlist titled Papa Dale Intro. 1 John 2:15 says, "Love not the world." Christ versus Culture is a playlist that explores the teaching and implications of that. Listen to this lesson, or any Bible teacher, with caution.
Now, right there, he does I will have to agree with him. He is saying, don't take my word for it, basically, right? You should check into everything. And this right here, starting out, I was like, well, hey, maybe he's, a little reasonable and everything, because he makes a good point. Everybody should check everybody, right?
Yeah, except for the love, not the world part. I kind of that really irritates me about Christians.
Well, why not both? I mean, aren't we supposed to be caretakers of God's creation or something like that in the Bible, right? I don't see any problem why a Christian cannot, love the world. You know what I mean? It's
when you
God's creation, right?
When you get into a cult, first thing they tell you is love not yourself, love not the world, love not the flesh, love the leader. Okay, and that's what he's saying, and that's what John whatever says. That I take issue with.
Yeah. And I don't. There's plenty of Christians and other religious people who love nature and going hiking and swimming and all the outdoor activities. I think you can enjoy both. I don't see a conflict, but yeah, I understand why they want to set it up that way.
1 John 4:1 says, "Dear friends, do not believe everyone who claims to speak by the Spirit. There are many false prophets in the world. Many, many false teachers are rising up in these end times. They cherry pick verses, take them out of context to support their favorite but false doctrines. So be cautious."
And again, there's some good words in there. Again, at first I'm like, hey, maybe this guy's all right. He's kind of got some thoughts going that, hey, maybe everybody should check maybe what this pastor is saying, right? Kind of good advice. Okay.
Every teacher will sound believable, but they must be consistent and congruent with the teaching of the entire Bible, or the teaching is false.
And then it starts to go south, right? Because everybody knows, whose interpretation are you talking about? Are you talking about
interpretation, right?
Yeah, are you talking about one of these very liberal progressive churches? Are you talking about a Ken Ham church? Are you talking about a Steven Anderson church? Right there's a big problem on who's got the right story on the Bible. Yeah. And hey, I see Azzo out there. Good to see you, Azzo. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, he does. Papa Smurf. My father-in-law's got the beard too. And not to. I don't know if it's stereotyping, but you just look like a grandpa, right? You got your beard going there, and you got the grandkids on your knee, right? That's all good.
So, let's go to the teaching for today. 7 miracles atheists must believe. Now, atheists who never assert their alternative hypothesis for the existence of the world
and there it is.
What?
There it is.
We don't know how it all began for sure, but we have a few ideas, a few hypotheses.
And the few, and the few that do are, very highly educated physicists. You don't know a lot of their names. I know Brian Cox because he's a big spokesman for CERN and everything, and he's a professor and everything, and he does, like Bill Nye stuff, you know what I mean? He's out there in the media, communicating what's going on. He's the one that announced the Higgs boson was confirmed and all that kind of stuff. But these people are very few that actually understand even remotely what's going on. And
what the problem is. Yeah.
Yeah, and to expect everyday people, explain all the physics to me. It's like, I don't know. I don't have a clue.
That's like, okay, like if you were teaching a class and all of your students walked in and you told them, you don't even know what this class is about. You couldn't even take the final exam right. It's like, therefore, you're an idiot, right? No. They're going to sit down, they're going to shut up, they're going to learn and listen, and that's what we're doing today when it concerns the beginning, why the universe is here and why the universe is doing what it's doing. And you don't want to call it a beginning because these bimbobs don't understand that there is no such thing as a beginning of space-time. Okay? It's right in the sentence. Space-time does not have a beginning, basically.
Yeah,
because there was no time.
You've got the Big Bang song from the TV show, you know, with everything came from the hot, dense state, right?
Yeah.
And that's the layman's interpretation. But when you talk to the physicists and stuff, we don't have any idea what they're talking about. Okay, they're in another level, you know. And yes, it's possible all the scientists in the world are in on some kind of big conspiracy just to fool everybody. However, I think they really screwed up when they gave us the internet, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're not, you know.
What is his alternative? There's a Superman-like being that went poof, and like it's a story in his book, and that's all he's got. And because they got their story and they absolutely believe it literally, they try to shame everybody else for not just accepting their story. But what about all the creation stories that we had prior to the Old Testament, right? Why don't we accept one of them? Which one do you want to accept?
Yeah, I would have to side with like a deistic or a very progressive belief that if a God exists, then it used the Big Bang and it used evolution, and it because that's how the universe is, and that again is kind of a, you know, a deistic sitting back and watching the show type of God, right? It's not this personal God with Jesus and everything they talk about, or even, you know, any of the ones that have had revelations. You know, you can use Muhammad or anything else. They always, you know, set themselves up as special. And, you know, when you look around the universe, it doesn't seem we're very special. We're extremely fortunate, but the
problem for these guys is that those people use the same book, right? The people that do believe in evolution and do not question how God created the universe or whatever, and they're Christians too. So if they're calling atheists idiots for not picking something, they have to basically do that to them too. So they're calling their own fellow Christians fools, basically. So
especially you know, we know it. There's lots of jokes that go around about, oh, what denomination are you? And as you go further down and further down, and then you say heretic, right? Because they'll agree all the way down to a certain point. Then it becomes heresy because all the sects and denominations and everything.
Yeah, that's like back in the day, our AA meetings started to become divided. Basically, there was men and women, and then there was gay and straight, and then we decided to start dividing it by smoker and non-smoker. And if we kept going and did Democrats and Republicans, but every time you add a new category, you multiply the number of meetings you have to have by 2. And eventually you get down to the point where there's only one person, you, in your own AA room, and that's your meeting, right? And if you logically extend it by dividing us on every single thing that we believe or every trait we have, you are eventually going to end up with like gray-haired guys over 70, you know, in their own little. That's the way Christian denominations work. It's wonderful.
I got Sophia and Tilting Windmill. Good to see you.
Yep.
Chris Moore there. Hello, how you doing? Thanks for everybody for stopping by. All right, let's see. All right, now it's going to get good here. This Mike's favorite part is coming up here.
Sophia,
go ahead.
Sophia's demanding chat highlights, and I can't do them on my channel, so you can do them, Dave.
I gave it. See, there you are.
There you are. You got to highlight. Yeah.
Are either too lazy or too ignorant to do so. The ignorant simply are unwilling. The ignorant are simply willing to happily be ignorant. The lazy make no effort to think about it, as it might give them a headache.
Now we're starting to sound like a little bit like our favorite Jim Bob here, where
a little bit of a
you're so dumb you can't think, it gives you a headache.
And you just don't want to think about the beginning of the universe every day. Like, why would you? Why would the average person need to think about that before they went out, got in their car, strapped their seatbelt on, and went somewhere? Why the hell do they need to know how the universe began? It's like,
and like they say, salt of the earth people, right? Most folks, like I say, they aren't scientists. They don't care about all these big questions or anything. They just want to do their thing, right? Yeah, they go to work. They have their families. Yeah, they're swimming in their pool on Saturday. Yeah, they're not pondering quantum physics.
Well, I think what he's actually getting at here is he knows that Christianity is a weak story, right? And without this creation myth, and without believing literally in that creation myth, there's absolutely no reason to believe in their God or in their whole program. The whole program falls apart. So that's what creationists are trying to do, is they're trying to find one subject, that they can, gotcha. Damn atheists are too ignorant, too lazy to think about the beginning of the universe. Really? Okay.
But some do. Some do.
Some do, yeah.
But again, these few, there are brilliant minds out there, but they are very few that are in these very specific fields of research. This is not just like being a biology teacher where it's very general, right? These are very specific fields.
Too happy to proclaim their own ignorance. We don't believe in a God, while childishly saying, as it were, neener, no matter what you say.
Oh, that really irritates me.
Now, again, this gentleman has gray hair, okay, and he's a former pastor, and his argument against atheists is, we say, neener.
That's right. Yeah.
You can't convince me. Those who do make an intellectual effort to understand the nature of reality are just dishonest. They believe that science is the defeater of theism.
No, not really. Science can disprove some claims of theism.
Yeah,
but supernatural claims cannot be disproved by science because there's nothing to test.
Yeah. Chris Moore has a comment here, an acquaintance of mine. But universe chaotic, but as sentient beings, we pose order for things to make sense as social creatures, if not for our own sake. Sort of agree with that, but I think I don't think it's that chaotic. I think there's a lot of patterns in the universe. But anyway, that's another talk.
Yeah, there's going to be one of his things in it. I believe in the list is he's going to mention. Yeah, we're gonna get to the order and chaos thing. Sophia.
Sophia caught him on it. Anyway.
He's got to get his little jabs in first before he gives his big reveal of his list. So,
by science, they mean a materialistic, naturalistic explanation for the bursting out of nothingness of everything.
Yeah.
Well, you have to define nothing. This is one philosophical argument I think that I have actually come to agreement with some of these philosophies, is that nothing is incoherent, because if you are going to define it or give it parameters or anything, then it becomes something. So it's a ridiculous thing to say. And even when I was on some of the Muslim streams there, they all seem to agree that using this nothing thing is just bad argument.
Right. Yeah, bursting out of nothing.
Yeah. And well, even, I listen a lot to Peter Atkins. I know not everybody's a fan, but he talks about when the universe first rolled out of nothing. But that would have to be something that is as yet to be defined. So he's leaving that there, that once you define what it was, then the nothing will be a something. It's similar to maybe dark matter, dark energy, when you know there has to have been something that, in his view, that split everything with positive, negative, matter, antimatter, that somehow there's everything split. But that when it becomes defined, and like he says, it could be hundreds or thousands of years, then that, is no longer actually nothing. So when they use terms, and Lawrence Krauss, of course, with his book about nothing and everything, but if you listen, though, that it's something that's undefined, because like Mike said, we don't know. They don't know.
And mindlessly cause all that exists. They do this even in the face of the mathematical impossibility for undirected random causation. They cling to this notion, but when challenged on matters of faith, like a turtle, they withdraw into their shell of ignorance and denial.
Yeah. And you already got the hint there that he's going to throw some probabilities at you, right?
Oh yeah.
The math says it's just not possible for natural things to happen.
Yeah.
And that just, again, it seems a little incoherent, right? We see natural things happen. Even if you don't believe everything naturally happens, you have to accept that things do happen naturally. If your wife has given birth, right, and you witnessed it, right, you saw it like I did. It was one of the greatest experiences in my life. It was natural. I saw it. I saw all the things, right? So
I would have ran screaming from the room. I don't know. No, actually, I did. I was there when my twins were born, and they had me between a bunch of equipment. We were in a gigantic auditorium because they were a high-risk birth, and I would have passed out if it had not been for that. I would have killed myself falling on the equipment. But Leo, mathematical impossibility of random chaotic causation. Just wait, and maybe pay attention, Leo, and tell me where he came up with this goddamn figure that he has. Go ahead. 10 to the 87.
We don't know why it happened. We only know for certain that it couldn't have been God. Regardless of anything any theist might say, their answer is always, you can't prove that.
Well, isn't that a problem?
Yeah.
If you make a claim that you cannot demonstrate, that's why the burden of proof argument always comes in. If you say you can fly, and I say, wow, that's really cool. Let me see you fly, man. Right? I want to see this. And then you say, well, I can't show you. You just have to believe I can fly. Then I'm going to say, dude, you can't fly. Right? Maybe you got into some mushrooms or something, right? And you thought you could, right? But no, you can't. You cannot fly. So it's no neener. It's just flat out dismissing the claim, sorry. That's just,
And as a public service, Dave, I have to tell you, mushrooms don't make you think you can fly. That doesn't happen. So anyway, don't be,
you
get some
can't fly,
mushrooms.
folks. Public service message. You can't fly.
You can't fly. No.
When they withdraw behind a smug curtain of false intellectually superior and impenetrable ignorance.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack right there. Now, smug. Okay, smug. What do you say? Intellectual, false intellectual, whatever? No, they're not false intellectuals. They've been to college for like 8 to 16 years, for God's sake. They're not. It just irritates him, and the reason he's calling them smug is because that's how he views it when somebody uses a word that he doesn't understand. And that happens to a lot of people. There's hatred of intellectualism because they can't understand what the hell is being discussed. So you have to have a little humility That, you know, if I walk into a economics panel and I don't understand what the hell they're talking about, I don't call them smug assholes, you know, like, oh, smug intellectualist, you know. It's like, no, that's what he's doing. Okay.
And he's already hinted, you know, at some presuppositional stuff where it's like,
right.
Yeah, where there's the smugness. It's like, I've got God and you're wrong deep down inside, right?
But then what he wants to do is come all the way around and call them ignorant. First of all, he starts off saying, oh, these guys know a lot of words I don't know, and they know a lot of stuff I don't know, and they're being all smug about it. But he knows that they're actually ignorant. So he's just discarding everything that they know, which he does not understand, and does not understand sufficiently to discard it, right? If you don't understand the damn words and you don't understand the topics, you do not know enough to discard the theory. Just shut your goddamn mouth. How he goes from smug to ignorant, I'll never understand.
Hold on, I got a message Scott here real quick.
Santa Bernat or Nodhead.
Yeah, my Gmail is all hail Bigfoot, so I'm easy to get. I say all hail Bigfoot all the time. So if you just remember that I say all hail Bigfoot all the time, stick a Gmail on there, you'll get a hold of me. But yeah, I put that in the private chat for you, Scott.
As the most well-known atheist of the 20th century, Anthony Flew said, quote, I have an almost invincible disinclination to believe. And
so
okay. He has a good reason to not believe.
Yep.
You know, again, Peter Atkins. They think they cornered him on one of the episodes. I think it was Unbelievable, where he said, well, even if it's spelled out in the sky, hello, Peter Atkins, I'm God, I'm here, you still wouldn't believe? And he said, no, I would think I'd gone mad, right? Yeah. So when you're convinced of your position, it is, you know, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, right? I mean, when you're not talking to people that are on the fence here, sir, okay? You're not talking to people, you know, that haven't looked into things or something. When you're talking about an atheist, you're talking about somebody that's already made a determination. So now it becomes even more of the burden to not only produce better evidence, but then to convince away from all the bad evidence a lot of us have dismissed.
I have a disinclination.
What's that?
I have a disinclination. Mike. I have a disinclination to believe in things that have not become evident at any time in my life, ever. And never have I had any evidence of anything supernatural or any God. And until I do, I'm not just going to take some dude in a Jesus is Lord hat's word for it. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, and some people, you know, may be easily swayed, and that's who he's used to dealing with. But again, when he's trying to, I guess, making this video talking to non-believers, and you have to step it up a little bit, sir, okay? Especially those of us with gray hair like you. We've been around for a while, and we've heard these things, and we still are not convinced, and you need to bring some better arguments, maybe. And okay, so, and closed-minded, being a turtle, all these kind of things. You know, I know Mike's had many people on his channel. I know people in some of the chats, but like Leo and stuff, get around debating all kind of people and everything. You know, we're out there, you know, to talk to and debate and things. I don't see where we're, you know, hiding our head like a turtle or anything either. So
nope.
Maybe, you know, you aren't reaching out like you should have as a pastor.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Almost hear him saying, "Neener, neener."
He did it again.
AJ, you see the joy he takes in that, like,
Yeah, he must have did that when he was a little kid. And
yeah. Which
where
is
I
all
come
good.
from, if you did that neener neener thing when you were a little kid, you would not have survived into adulthood. Either your mom or dad or your friends would have got you.
Well, that's why I thought, the couple minutes here where he's going on, it kind of sets up his mindset and his attitude going into his little list that's going to be coming up here in just another minute. This video isn't very long, so.
Okay.
It's often charged that Christianity is foolish because they say its foundation is blind faith.
Well, yes, most of the supernatural claims in the Bible are on blind faith because you cannot demonstrate the supernatural. You can believe in the supernatural, okay? You can hail Bigfoot, okay? You can knock on trees, okay? Is Bigfoot answering you? Well, that's open to interpretation, okay? So, again, you're very weak, sir. Very, very weak. And for your age, you'd think maybe you'd have a little bit better arguments after all these years,
I have a comment
statement
on faith. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
I wish we could coordinate on this. A comment on faith. Like our brains operate based on faith. We have faith in a lot of things. But the way that faith develops is that you become used to something regular. Something regularly works, and you have faith in it. Like, have you ever done that little exercise? Of course, you probably haven't been in alcoholic treatment like I have, but where they have you fall back into a group and they catch you, right? Like, what is it called? The fallback thing? I don't know, some damn thing. But anyway, the first time they drop you, that is going to be the last time you have faith. And if you just went out by yourself, like just out on the road, and you did that, would you have faith that you're going to be caught? No. You have faith requires some evidence in your life somewhere along the line. You have to have had, it has to make sense to you in order for you to have faith in it. And if you have something like God who never shows up, then it's hard to have faith in him. And that's my position. So, okay. Are we going to get to the miracles?
Yep, Scott's going to try again here, and I see now and knows here. How you doing, Lupin? Old Joe is here. Sydney's here. Doorknob Head is here. Good to see everybody. Thanks for stopping by. If I missed anybody, hello. And Scott's going to try again. I think he got his feet wet. I wish him luck here.
Yeah.
It is either a witting or unwitting lie, but lie it is. If you ask them what evidence would be convincing to you, they never answer, but...
False.
Yeah, I have answered.
Lots of people have answered.
I have.
And I think Matt Dillahunty probably has the best answer, that if a God knows, or if a God exists, surely it knows what it would take for you to believe in him, right?
Exactly.
So, the examples like they give about, if the stars spelled out something or whatever, but it would also have to be, some kind of, personal thing too, you would have to believe that was actually God and that it wasn't, like going mad or hallucination or something like that. So
yeah, I'm having a talk in comments on my last video with somebody about that. And as far as going mad and hallucination, when you are going mad, the thing that you're seeing never stays there permanently, right? When you look away and look back, it can be gone, just like that, okay? So like people that are going mad, that have a problem with their brain, they know it. They always have some idea that something is going really haywire. But if I looked at the stars and they spelled out, Jesus saves or whatever the hell, and and then I looked away and looked back, and it was there on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then I tuned into Channel 11 News, and Channel 11 said, "Hey, everybody saw this thing." Well, I'm going to believe. I'm gonna start to change my mind about God. That's all he would have to do, is end up on Channel 11 News, which shouldn't be too hard. Any asshole can do that, right?
And I often say, because I like a lot of supernatural things and stuff, that if anything's supernatural, right? If you could demonstrate that a ghost exists, for example, that there's some way to transcend death as this being of pure energy that can walk through walls and stuff, then it would open the doors to many other supernatural claims. But
if my mom showed up,
there's a countless list of supernatural claims, and sadly, none have any good evidence for them.
Right.
So the best the theists can come up with is, well, you'll see when you're dead, and I guess we all will, right? That's doesn't make a good argument for the here and now, though.
Rather say, well, that's your problem. You have the burden of proof. Neener.
Is that the third time he did this?
That's the third time, yeah.
Third.
Neener to burden of proof. Well, sir, again, if you make a claim, it is reasonable for somebody to ask for evidence. I say, if you say you can fly and you can't fly, it's not neener for everybody to tell you that you cannot fly. Okay, that's just it. I don't know what you want. You need.
He says neener one more time. One more time, I'm going to find him and commit a gross misdemeanor.
Should I check the transcript?
You can't make
I thought
me
it
believe.
was 2 or 3. I thought it was only 2 times, but he did it 3 times.
3 times. Okay. Yeah, because he's coming up on his
Christianity is not blind.
His list.
There are 2 topics over which the clash centers: the resurrection of Jesus and the creation. With reference to the resurrection, Christianity is based on a preponderance of historical, factual evidence.
And once again, no. You do not have evidence that somebody rose from the dead. You do not have evidence of Adam and Eve. You do not have evidence that the earth was here before the sun was here. No, you don't. You just don't.
Well, only that one book series has evidence that he's relying on. And that one book series, they're not even consistent, right? Like if you go through the Gospels, they keep changing stuff a little bit as the books evolve. I mean, Harry Potter was better than that. It was at least consistent eternally, right? It's like, why not believe that? They don't like that. Go ahead.
It's his catchphrase for atheist. Yeah, he seems to like the neener. And Scott says, check your emails, order from chaos. Yeah, I was looking at the stuff, and I always, to me, the one that I always use is a snowflake. A snowflake is order out of chaos. So we'll get to his argument here. You want to click it? You got it pulled up, Mike? You can. Hello, James. How you doing?
I got you show
the same kind of factual evidence offered and accepted in courtrooms every day.
No, sir. Again, you cannot walk into a courtroom and present the supernatural as evidence. It's just not going to fly. It's just not. I don't know what. Maybe there are courts where they try it, but I think the judge and the jury would frown on that as evidence. I really do. And even believers, as a judge and jury, I think would frown on that.
It accumulates the known facts, it researches the statements of the participants in the Christian narrative and bystander testimony, it examines the aftermath of those purported events, it examines the statements of contemporary enemies, it investigates the historical impact the events had, it proposes a conclusion that best fits the facts of reality.
No, sir.
Really? What conclusion? What is the conclusion?
That all these supernatural things in the Bible somehow line up with reality.
Isn't the conclusion the apocalypse? That's the conclusion. That would be conclusive, if 20% of us suddenly floated up into the clouds, and were raptured. That would do it for me. I'd believe, I'd be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I believe now.
Well, I understand that believers believe these things happen, but they are not facts of history. You do not have facts on your side. You have a belief in supernatural claims. And again, we can go through the Bible, and I can grant you that some of these places existed and still exist. Some of the rulers existed, some of the, rivers and all that and stuff. But I can also point out a book called Sherlock Holmes that mentions London, England, okay? Still doesn't make Sherlock Holmes real. It doesn't make Jesus supernatural, even if he walked the earth preaching. There's a line, okay? I can grant you a Jesus as a historical figure. That doesn't make the supernatural claims historical facts.
And in spite of persecution, torture, and death, the commitment...
No evidence of that. Christians were free to be Christians, and no, these are all false claims from history.
And persecution and death. I think Christians did that to non-believers historically. So, you're not immune.
No.
Is and was always upheld. Now, no one alive today was there. So, like in a courtroom, we can only rely on the evidence, the facts. It leads us to the conclusion that the gospel is true.
What are the facts? What are the facts?
I think
the only fact he's got is that book.
He's real light. He's real light on what he thinks are facts.
Yeah, he didn't talk about it. I don't think he lists one fact in this thing, but go ahead.
He's running out of time, so.
With regard to creation, Christians assert that God, the powerful, intelligent designer, generated and orchestrated it. Most atheists who claim an ability to think proffer the atheistic naturalism hypothesis as an alternative to theistic supernaturalism.
Pretty much, yes. That's kind of, an atheist thinking, is that there's not a supernatural being doing it. Does he know what an atheist is? A lot of these people that do these videos telling atheists what they know and should think and all these things. I don't think they know what an atheist is, because they keep using their mindset, in their wording, and it's like, no, it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply to us.
When does Scott's Order from Chaos list come into focus here? Should we? Because I do have it pulled up.
I think that's number 2 on his thing here.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Yep. So we're gonna get that in just a minute here.
Explanation. Atheists ignore the mathematical impossibility, the mathematical chance that the more than 100 facts of physics, known as the cosmological fine-tuning, for no reason, self-generated randomly and resulted in this universe, and that is less than The chances of that is less than 1 in 10 to the 83rd power.
83rd power. Okay, so that's it. Like, where the hell did he pull that figure out of his ass? And like, I try to tell these people that the chance of you being in the exact molecular state that you're in right now would be 1 to almost an infinite power, like a much bigger number than 83rd, from just this morning, because of the number of things that could have happened. But the truth is, what did happen is what we have right now. And it's just like, every morning when you get out of bed, you could put your pants on left leg first, right leg first. That's one decision. You could step on the cat or not. You could, there's like all these things. There could be a storm or not. Every one of these things divides that probability by 2. And when you look at it at the molecular level, just what you breathe, like how you inhale and exhale, is going to change your molecular composition. Some of your cells are going to die while you're walking across the floor. Basically, which ones die is kind of random and chaotic. But at the end of the day, who you are is who you are. For God's sake, get it through your mind and stop using probability to...
And what Andy says here, totally made up
I'm
numbers.
with all
Yeah,
words.
because every time they use one of these probabilities, it's always a different number.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't
It's not like they're
matter.
getting it from somebody where they're all using the same number. It's always different numbers. So they just add a bunch of zeros to something, or they multiplied something out on their computer or something, and they got a big number to make themselves happy. They don't seem to come from anywhere.
If something happens, it happens. It doesn't matter how improbable it was. You can't go back and change it, right?
He slid fine tuning in there too, and again, it seems to be misused by theists. Fine tuning is the parameters of the universe, and if they were different, the universe might be different. Okay, but it's not. This is the universe we're in, so it doesn't matter if another universe is different. It's irrelevant to us. Whoops.
Every day. It accumulates the known facts, it researches the statements of the participants in the Christian narrative and bystander testimony. It examines the aftermath of those. It proposes a conclusion that best fits the facts of reality. And, in spite of persecution, torture, and death, the commitment to the narrative is and was always upheld.
Sorry, I had to repeat a little bit there. I hit the button.
Now, no one alive today was there. So, like in a courtroom, we can only rely on the evidence, the facts, and orchestrated it. Explanation. Atheists ignore the mathematical impossibility, the mathematical chance that the more than 100 facts of physics, known as the cosmological fine-tuning, for no reason, and that is less than, the chances of that is less than 1 in 10 to the 83rd power. And that's like...
Sorry about that. I hit the button by accident. Yeah. I had to find my mark again there. Sorry,
I've got a response for him. Neener, neener.
Neener. Okay, so now we're gonna get to his list now, which is the main point of this thing that we have to believe. So here it comes.
Like randomly selecting a single correct atom from a pile of atoms 4 times larger than all the atoms in the universe while blindfolded. For those who don't intellect...
This is like the Frank Turek dimes thing, that if you piled dimes to the moon on the whole planet and painted one of them red, and then you just reached right out and grabbed it. And it's like, well, see, there is a problem there. Okay, probabilities are a 1 in an X amount tries, right? There is a one. They seem to ignore the one. There is that possibility, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, if you randomly pick a card from a deck, you will have a card. I mean, you will have a card, but if you try to think about, if you use your mind or your human mind, and you try to predict what card is coming out of the deck, well, then you have less chance of being right? And that's what he's claiming here. It's just ridiculous.
And Turek and the rest use the lottery too. They say, well, all they're saying is that if you have enough lottery tickets, you're going to hit. And it's like, yeah, that's how it works. You improve your odds by having more picks at what the lottery numbers are. And yeah, if nature has more to the power 10 to the power of than you used, then it becomes irrelevant because it had more tries to do it than you're even giving it the possibility of. So the probabilities always fall apart one way or another.
Yeah. And this is the hand we have been dealt, is probably the most wisdom in one sentence that you could packs a lot of wisdom in one sentence. This is the hand that we have been dealt. Whatever the randomness. Go ahead.
Turtle up. There are at least 7 things atheistic,
Here we go.
materialistic, naturalists must believe in order to affirm their alternate history of existence.
Alternate history. Okay.
Alternate history. Again, atheists do not have to have a history of existence.
There aren't just 2 alternate stories. There's his story, there's naturalism, and then how many other myths are there that we're not talking about for some reason? He's not picking on them. Yeah, what do they turtle up and say, oh no, it was, Gilgamesh or whatever? I don't know.
And what about the ones that think the earth is on the back of a turtle?
Yes.
I mean, kind of dissing on the turtle there, right?
It's never been disproven.
Yeah, be a little open-minded to other faiths there, good pastor.
Yeah.
Every one is unproven and has no evidentiary basis in fact. Some of these assertions violate known and accepted laws of physics. Not one time in history has any of the following ever been known to occur.
Drum roll, please. Here we go.
Yeah. Here we go. Finally.
Number 1, existence comes from non-existence.
Nobody ever said that? Nope.
And,
Nobody's claiming that.
Here we go. Here's his list.
Okay.
I don't think we really have to listen to him say it. I already got it pulled up here. So let's just go ahead and we'll check out his list. So number 1, existence comes from non-existence. Mike, this is right up your alley, good sir.
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Well, okay. There was an expansion of space and time, right? And we've been able to go back and prove that in a number of ways. And that means that if we were to project backwards, it may be an infinitely small thing, right? But what happens is when you have space-time, you've got to imagine a higher dimension. You've got a bubble of space-time, all of it, because it's 4-dimensional. You have to look at all of time in the same way that you look at all of space, right? You take that bubble, and that bubble probably came from something, but you're looking at it in a higher dimension. And at no point are you talking about a beginning, because for that you would have to talk about one side of the bubble or one spot on the bubble or another. And you could do that easily. Okay, if you want to say, oh, that's the beginning, anywhere on the bubble is the beginning. So it's just ridiculous. The kind of language or the kind of intuition they use is so common sense and everyday, and that is not what is going to solve this problem in physics. What is going to solve this problem in physics is some really weird mathematical geometry, right? That's how it's going to be solved. This is ridiculous. Nobody says it comes from non-existence. Anyway.
And we got more folks joining us. Commander Ollie's out there, and Icarus, and
Sfredo,
and Frida.
Doctor.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, good to see everybody.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2, and this is the one Scott was looking into.
Yeah.
Order comes from chaos.
Yep.
Do we believe order comes from chaos?
Yeah, I do. There's order everywhere. Scott has a list here of things.
You're up. There you go.
Yep. Formation of galaxies, chaotic matter, or something that seems random, something that's spinning around slowly coalesces and starts creating all kinds of structures, like galaxies are very structured. Snowflakes, we can watch those form from just random free-floating vapor in the atmosphere, suddenly forms these beautiful crystals. Ecosystem succession, after a disturbance like a wildfire, ecosystems gradually progress from a chaotic state to a structured community. Convection cells, we've seen those form. If you put oil in a frying pan, you'll see weird little cells form. I've seen a number of different, incredible patterns when frying various foods. Formation of planets, flocking behavior, individual birds or fish in a chaotic swarm use a couple of simple rules and they end up with these incredible patterns and flocks. And crystal growth, that's an obvious one. And pattern formation and chemical reactions. Oh yeah, I don't know how to say that, Belousov Jabotinsky reaction produces complex periodic and spatial patterns from chaotic conditions. That would be a wonderful thing. But that's just a little handful of chaos from nature. So it happens. Anyway, make me small. Make me small.
Go back to, where were we?
Make America great again, but make me small again. Okay.
There we go. I hit the right button. How about that? All right.
Make me small again. Okay. Order from chaos.
Order from, and like I said earlier, and that's one I usually go to because everybody knows about snowflakes. It's order from chaos. That's usually my go-to. All right, number 3 is one of my favorites. Life comes from non-life, and I always ask, point out the living elements on the periodic table that we are made of. Yeah. Life is made up of non-living elements.
Yep.
Got anything else to add, Mike? I mean, I don't know.
I ate some dead cow last night, and it became a part of me.
Yep.
Yeah, cow's dead, so it's life from non-life. I don't know.
So did I. Had some burgers on the grill. It was very tasty. I had little stomach problems from my medication last week that I took for my back. It just made things worse because then my stomach was bothered. So I took it easy for a few days. Ate light. Eased back into it, and so yesterday I was geared up. We did some work outside. We were all sweaty, hot, and tired. We showered up. We grilled. The son and I had a enjoyable meal.
Yeah. This fourth one. Oh my God! What the hell is he saying here? Personal comes from non-personal. What does he have some magical spiritual idea of what personal means? Like he's talking about the spirit mind or something. What does he mean by it?
Well, the Christians usually use that their God is personal through Jesus or whatever, because other gods aren't personal.
Why doesn't he come down and talk to me then if he's so goddamn personable?
Doesn't seem to be personable,
does he? Very personable. That one confused. I mean, him throwing that in indicates that we are worlds apart in the way we think. Personal comes from non-personal. Right?
Well, and he's got he's got a creation mindset, so he's just mocking the possibilities that any of these things, could emerge by themselves, right? Yeah. That you have to have these things already in place somehow.
Number 5 is what I hope for him, that reason will come from his non-reason. So,
And
yeah.
this again, it's reason comes from non-reason. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're non-reasonable, you probably didn't survive, and the reasonable ones survived. So that's like, and then
That's
when
like
we became, more, social, and we actually had time to sit down and ponder, then the brain, grew and grew because we had that time to ponder. And we often bring up, imaginations, entered the picture, and they're great things. But
have you ever seen dry clothes come from non-dry clothes? Right? Every time you put them in the dryer. I don't understand what his problem is with this stuff.
And it kind of plays right into number 6. Morality comes from matter. Well, yeah, if you want to break it down, the mind is matter, the brain is matter. So yeah, I mean, he's just appealing to a God for morality. And again, sir, we find many things in the Bible to be atrocious. So
yeah, these 4, 5, and 6 contain, and 7 to some degree, contain folk psychologic ideas. We have a certain folk psychology, a language, and a way of communicating that we've dealt with, and it doesn't necessarily hold up to scientific scrutiny the way we use these things. But for him, he's just begging the question with his God by claiming personal God, reason is granted by God, morality is granted by or given by God, and he thinks of information in the same way. He has a sort of every kind of an everyday idea of what information is. Information comes from non-information. But dry clothes coming from wet clothes, things change, right? I don't understand the problem with any of this.
Well, and the way I understand it is that any basic structure, even down to the atomic level, becomes information.
Yeah. Just the way it's structured.
Right. And a simple structure can add another, whatever, electron, whatever it needs to become something else. It's not unreasonable.
Well, carbon combining with 2 oxygen atoms, right? That basically increases the amount of information to some degree, or decreases depending on what particular theoretical framework you want to use for information. Because now it decreases the randomness, but it happens all the time. Information from non-information.
Yeah, if you ask them back to what they mean by information,
right,
they're not going to have a good answer either. They just think it's some kind of gotcha, like, aha, this just can't, like a book just can't show up by itself, right?
Right, and if you had a Bible, Dave, can non-information come from information? Just light it on fire. And non-information, and it goes both ways. All information is a structure, and structure is always changing. And number 3, 4, and 5 are all about structure, and structure is always changing. So there's no problem with any of these things. And order from chaos. What we consider chaotic is kind of a judgmental thing that humans have, right? And order comes from chaos all of the time. We've seen tornadoes form, waterfalls.
Somebody in the chat mentioned, oh no, is he going to go to the second law? Because surprisingly he didn't, but yeah, that's usually what they'll go to. They'll misuse the second law about, entropy and everything, and with leaving out that the earth has energy coming in, and it can, even though you're decreasing, you can have an increase locally. So yeah, I'm surprised he didn't say that, but I think he thinks his list was just so awesome that he didn't have to add to it very much. Yeah. So yeah, the list, like Mike said, some of these things seem to go together. And he mentioned fine tuning earlier, but he didn't really seem to put it in here. Yeah. So I don't think I don't know, is fine tuning not a miracle we have to accept? So I guess we're good on that one then, right?
You know, the other thing, miracles, you know, like when I look at a seed grow into a plant, and I have one in my yard that I've been watching, it's called beggar's lice. And it's a thing that has those little burrs that get on your pants, you know, that thing. I have one of them out there. I named him Frank. So I've been watching Frank grow. And to me, that is a miracle. I mean, I use the word miracle for everything around me, everything in nature. It's a goddamn miracle that I got out of bed this morning, as old as I am, as much as I've abused my body. It's a miracle. Yeah. It's a miracle that I can string a couple words together, for God's sake.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's miracles everywhere.
Yeah, we feel miraculous feelings. Yeah. We feel awe, and you know, you don't have to be a believer to appreciate art and nature and all these things. It's just, it's a bad argument.
Yeah, there's miracles everywhere. It's incredible. Yeah.
And then just to whereas we're going to get, should we listen to him say the final words, or should we just read them?
Up to you. You could listen.
Well, we'll put him back on for his final words here about what dummies we are.
Comes from matter. One more religion. Requirements of atheistic naturalism. The belief requirements of atheistic naturalism are by far the most stringent of any religious system, and they require the most faith.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be able to go along with all that.
Yeah, I mean, the definition of faith, but I mean, sure.
Yeah, science really has a lot of requirements. You know, there's a lot of requirements out there if you want to learn how something happens. And I have faith that it all happens. I have faith that Frank is growing in my backyard. But if I look into all of the things that I have to be in place in order to believe in Frank, well, you know, I could just take Frank head on, my plant, and say, oh yeah, it exists. Or I could look into the molecular biology of this thing, and I got all the requirements. I don't know what he's complaining about. What is he complaining about?
One more religion founded on the basis of fantasy.
Yeah, there you go. You got one. He said it right there.
Atheism is not a religion. And it's not based on fantasy. It is based on you made a claim and we asked you to produce some evidence. Now, some people are convinced by certain evidence and other people are not. That's it.
They don't like that evidence requirement. Let them wrap up.
The religion of atheism. Well, that's all I got to say for now. If you have comments, questions, or prayer requests, you can leave them in the comment section.
Well, I did have comments to make, and that's why I said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? You want to take a look at this video? Because I think he's got a bit of an attitude, and he needs to be knocked down a few notches.
Yeah. If you go to his site, he has, I think, around 1,000 videos that he created. He creates like 4 a day of these little short biblical inspiration things. It's, I was like, I couldn't find anything. Scott mentioned one video and I could not find it because it was lost in the weeds. There were just too many of them. Anyway, I think he had to go back to it. Like when he started this channel, I think there were like uprooting trees or something. I think he had to go back to that. way off the biblical.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, and his thing that atheists have to believe, again, anytime you make these videos, okay, I don't have to believe in anything.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to believe jack, all right? You're telling me I have to believe these things, okay? And as I pointed out, and I'll repeat again because I can't repeat it enough, to these folks, most people are not scientists.
Yeah.
Saying that the atheists are all scientists and they're in on a conspiracy and we all know better than everybody. First of all, we're not all scientists, and those that are if they're accomplished in their field, because being a scientist doesn't mean you're accomplished in your field. That's another level too. But scientists who are
Icarus's comment, the religion of atheism, aka
the religion from non-religion.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it really bothers me that they. I mean, it's not hard to understand what an atheist is.
I think
it's not that hard. Okay.
I think I'm going to start calling myself a lack theist, and they use that as a derogatory term, but it's not. I mean, I like it. It says exactly what my position is about Christianity.
Well,
I am a lack theist.
Yeah, I don't know is a gotcha, right? And because they've got an answer. They're going to say God did it. God did it. God did it, right?
Yeah.
So
they want you to think of it as derogatory that you're a lack theist, right? But if you say, no, I'm a lack theist, now all of a sudden they have the burden of proof. Now you start telling me why you believe in this bullshit. Because I don't. I wasn't raised in the tradition. I never did. Had I been raised, when you're raised as a Christian, it's kind of like boiling the frog. You put the frog in cold water and you slowly heat it up until the frog boils alive. I think that's what happens to most people that believe in Christianity. They're introduced to it at an age when they're still believing in Santa Claus and all this other crap. And then they just kind of like, they live in the belief. And they never come out and say, wait a minute, why do I believe this again? Exactly. I mean, I know why I believe in gravity.
And of course, once again, all these ones that are ragging on the scientists sure appreciate being able to use YouTube and the internet and their computers and their smartphones and everything else involved to put themselves online for anybody around the world to be able to pick up and see. If it's all a big conspiracy, I'm sorry, but the scientists really blew it by giving everybody the internet. I think the internet blows away all the conspiracy theories about scientists. I really think it does. And Sophia said chaos theory shows that even deterministic systems can be unpredictable, limiting our ability to predict how order might emerge from chaos.
Right. And there's a whole lot of mathematics involved in this, and some really neat contemporary theories based on all of this order from chaos. And these people need to look into it a little bit. So much better than reading the Bible. So much more entertaining.
Well, I think maybe you and I both know that these are a lot of the old arguments, just kind of maybe tweaked a little bit and rehashed and regurgitated. Yeah, I mean, look these arguments up and at least see things, like these are really bad arguments, because even if you go to sites like Ken Ham and stuff, even the creationist sites will give you some tips on arguments that they think are bad. Okay.
Yeah,
so
like you can tell that he hasn't really read about this subject at all. It's apologetics. Like he's not trained at all.
Again, he's got the nice, he's got the nice grandpa beard going there. It shows a little, wisdom in the years and everything. And, maybe he thinks that's good enough. It's some type of retired pastor and everything. He thinks mighty high of himself. And there's nothing wrong with being, confident and everything. But along with that, yeah, sir, first of all, we don't see where any of those are miracles. I was thinking something more like, the Big Bang or something. I didn't even see that. So,
Yeah. In the last 4 days, he has 8 videos in 4 days. So he does 2 a day.
busy.
60 a month. Jeez.
Well, I would say, skip the next video and Google a couple of the arguments you're using and rethink them. And if you're going to declare miracles, I was expecting something a little more miraculous, right? Like fish crawling out of the ocean and being half human, or like mermaids or something. I was kind of let down on the title as far as miracles. What it is some bad straw man arguments that you made up that I don't really claim, and a lot of us have automatic disclaimers for these things because we know them so well. Is that part of Frank? That's
part of Frank, yeah. I'm going to throw him under the microscope. So you can see the burrs there, kind of like right where my eye is, kind of as a burr. Yeah. Those are those sticky things that get on your pants, and you have to almost throw your pants away. Or spend 6 hours pulling them off.
Well, that's because of the curse. We didn't have thorns and all those things until, we got the curse. And
I wonder how those plants distributed themselves prior to the curse. I mean, I wonder how they got from one, to spread across the
every time I hear the T-Rex ate watermelons, I lose all hope for humanity.
It kind of pisses me off because I like watermelons. Or T-Rex is just like.
So all in all, though, mostly, his arguments were terrible, but he kind of had an attitude, and I just thought, I need to answer him back. If you watch this, who knows? We think your arguments were terrible, and your neener, and your smug attitude isn't gonna. I don't see how it's going to convince anybody. Okay, so if you're trying to win an argument with yourself, congratulations. If you're trying to sway anybody, I don't think you're doing it. If you were trying to reach us, you surely didn't do it because your arguments are terrible, and some of the stuff we've heard over and over and over again, and it just gets more terrible every time we hear it.
Yeah, his thumbnails they all look like him.
It's all the same.
Then it goes to Christ versus culture. That's got to be a good one, right?
Man, here I am making these cool little AI art things and everything. And
wait a minute, you can't be a hooker for Jesus?
I thought he hung out with the hookers.
I did too. Peter is not the rock. Can a Christian go to hell? I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I might have to look around. I didn't even know. Like I said, I didn't know anything about the channel. This just showed up in my feed, and I just said, it just kind of rubbed me a little wrong. Like I say, the first few words weren't too bad, and I thought he'd be a little gentler of a soul, but he seems to be a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, he's got Bible nutshells and lots of Bible nutshells. And my goodness, it keeps going. Okay, humility, Christ our substitute. What is that? I don't know. He's got like million. This is just 5 months ago. I think I've gone through. There's got to be like 200 videos. It's just like holy shit.
He's got a lot. He's got a lot to say about nothing, doesn't he?
He does. You have a do song. Okay, and then you go back.
Boy.
Okay, there's a jump from 5 months ago to 3 years ago, and you got Papa and the Bandit Workshop Prep, and then you got they got they have Bobcats and God knows what else. So
because that's what I know is that it's called Papa Dale and the Bandit, and I was wondering is this Papa Dale and where is the Bandit?
Right, 4-wheel desert cruising, Slab City fire, shots fired. He's got.
Do you have a falling out with the Bandit, or was the Bandit like his pet or something?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. We've got
Further
one.
investigation is required.
It looks like you've got a 44. What just happened here? I don't know. Something happened here. Anyway, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff yet. A lot to unpack.
And I also noticed Ken Ham has a new page called Ken Ham 2024, and it seems to be like they're podcasting his stuff because it's some of the talks he's given, but there's no video. It's just the audio. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, if you just can't get enough of Ken Ham and you want to listen to him as well.
So on Answers in Atheism, we're going to get back to some Jim Bob bashing.
Okay.
I've got a section where he talks about NASA being a fake, all the moon landing and all that shit. None of that happened. He doesn't believe in gravity, particularly. He thinks we got it all wrong. It has something to do with, I don't know what the hell. I don't know what his actual theory is, but
we got
so
to keep his views up. His views were way up a couple of weeks ago, and then they dropped down. I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. They love me when I come into chat, man. They go on, and he always puts my comments up on the screen, which I really appreciate, Jim Bob.
Yeah, I clicked on it right when your comment showed up in the chat yesterday, and I was like, oh, there's Mike.
And then he's got this new beard.
Oh man, you got that handy? Pull that up real quick.
I kind of do. I'm not sure if I. Okay, hang on a sec. Wow.
What the heck did he do to his face?
I don't know what he did to his face. It's scary.
Is he trying to stereotype himself as a 70s trucker or something?
Yeah, one of the village people, I think is. Oh, wait a minute. No, he shaved it. Oh, today he shaved off the.
Oh, did he take the things off?
He took that off today. Yeah. Now he's just got a really black mustache. Really way too black. It should never be that black a mustache.
Somebody's bored.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, hey, thanks again, everybody, for joining. Michael, and I see you in the chat too, and Top Tester, and Rochelle, and everybody stopping by. Appreciate everybody stopping through. I see Joe stopping in. Hey, Joe, good to see you. And we just thought Papa Dale and or the Bandit just needed a little knocking down a little bit. Maybe who knows? Maybe they'll check themselves a little bit. And
from now on, I'm going to use the argument neener.
Yeah, we're just neener. There you go.
What does that mean? Does that mean anything? Do you know what that means? I don't know what that means.
I think it's just mocking, like nya.
Yeah, but why neener? Is it like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, is that like
he thinks that if you ask for evidence, it's the same as saying nya, and it's like,
wait a minute. If you got a wiener from nothing, that would be a neener. Wiener from a neener, right? Wiener from nothing.
So he's got nub issues like Jim Bob.
He probably has nub issues. Yeah, many of them do.
But first thing I came across this, of course, I always think of Answers in Atheism, and if you're not subscribed over at Answers in Atheism, make sure you remedy that. Link is in the description. And we had Scott come in and out. Scott is off and over with Mike at Answers in Atheism, but he's having some internet problems, which hopefully will get worked out. He was in and out, and he did give us some information that the stuff that Mike was reading earlier. So thanks, Scott. Appreciate the effort there.
Yep. Okay.
And with that, we'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.